Hi there, this is Jen and thanks for joining me today. Today I'm creating a slimline card using some new release products from Whimsy Stamps. I am a new design team member for their video team and I'm super excited to be sharing this card using their new release. The die that is in this new release is a slimline die. It's called a hearts background die. And I'm going to take that with a piece of white Hammermill paper. I am using some Distress inks to blend a background, and I am using the Seedless Preserves, which is this color right here. It's kind of a grape or purple color. And then I will be using Picked Raspberry, and then the lightest color will be a worn lipstick. And so I'm taking my blending tool and just going over in basically 3 sections. My idea for this card kind of changed throughout this process. And originally this portion that I'm doing right here was going to be the main portion of the card. And then I changed my mind on that. So I am blending right now the Picked Raspberry. I always try and go back over the colors and kind of blend the two that are right next to each other together. So I just go over to kind of smooth out that line. And I was having a little bit of trouble getting a darker color blend on my cardstock, and I ended up switching out. I had the domed foam on the end of my blending tool, and I ended up switching that out to one of the Tim Holtz blending tips, and that helped a whole lot, and it made that color a little bit darker. And next I took the slimline die and ran that through my die cut machine with a piece of white paper. And here I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the card. I did decide to take the die, the slimline die again, and run that through that blended piece of cardstock. And this die is wonderful because there are so many options and so many ways to use it. And here I'm just trying to figure out which way I want to use it or which way I like it the best. And what I decided eventually to do is to layer the white piece with the blended piece. And so I wanted to have these hearts be distressed. So I went ahead and took my sprayer and just spritzed those over the hearts. This would have been a lot easier to do with before I die cut it, but as I mentioned, I wasn't really sure my plan for the card at that point, and so this worked just as well. I just had a little bit more water on my surface than what I would have otherwise. And so I just spritzed that and I let it sit probably about 10 seconds and then took a paper towel to blot up that color, which left those really pretty distress watermarks. And then since the die is going to be off center, I decided to cut right on the first dotted line of the die, which made it really easy to kind of decide where I needed to cut. And so that will leave a really clean look on the outside so that it's not overhanging on either side. It's just offset in those shapes. And so I decided to put the white piece on top, and so I'm just taking my fine line glue. I go all around the outside of the die and then particularly on the inside of each heart where it comes in the center. I just wanted to make sure that those weren't going to lift up, and so I put glue, basically little dots of glue everywhere that I possibly could to make sure that this would adhere and stay adhered. And then I will take another panel of white cardstock and adhere the entire piece to that, which will allow me to insert some of the distressed inked hearts into the centers. I think this would look nice just as it is on a white background or even a colored background. But I'm going to go ahead and use some of all of that ink blending. I didn't want it to go to waste, and so I'm going to go ahead and insert some of those hearts. So I do add this to a piece of white cardstock. Before I adhere this to my card base, however, I do trim it down so that I don't have any overhang underneath from that piece of cardstock. And then I'm just taking the bigger hearts. It's really easy to just go ahead and add some glue to the back of the hearts and then insert it into really any area that the heart will fit. I did not keep any pattern as far as how I ink blended the paper. I mixed the purple with the pinks. And then on one heart, I did go ahead and pop that up. I just wanted to see how it would look. It didn't have a huge effect because this foam is super thin. So I just ended up popping the one up. But I do several different things with the hearts on this card panel. I inserted a bunch of them directly into the spots that they fit. Some of the hearts I inserted into spots that they did not fit, so there's a little bit of white space around the hearts. And then I'm using another new release stamp set, and this is called Kiss Off, and it is a really funky, quirky stamp set. I also made these two cards right here that you see on the screen. Those will be on the Whimsy YouTube channel on the 8th of January. So if you're interested in seeing the process for those two cards, I encourage you to subscribe to the Whimsy channel, and that video will be up shortly, and you can view that. I will leave the link below. Of course, I will also leave a link below to the new products that I'm using today. And I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this die, not just because it's a beautiful die, but there's so many different ways that you can use it. I've used it 3 ways in this card today. I offset it, I did some inlay, and then I also inserted the hearts so it looks like kind of a 3D heart almost. And then as well, you have all these little pieces left that can be used for a confetti. So you could color 2 sides of the paper so that when the die cut is used, you have color on both sides, and that can be used in a shaker card. It can be used for confetti. They can be used to add embellishments to your cards. They can be used as a little treat sack filler. Lots of different ways those little extra pieces can be used and don't go to waste. So here is the final project. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below. I hope you will check me out on the Whimsy channel on the 8th of January. As always, if you liked this video or found it informative, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I hope to see you next time.